All right, let's get the guys into the mix. Rick, I'll start with you. Does this say more about Jacksonville or less about Indy? It's obviously both. Is this more of a, wow, look at Jacksonville, or a, what the heck is going on?
I'm going to say it's more Jacksonville from what Trent Baalke was able to do this offseason, bringing on all these players. They're good players. They're not Pro Bowl type players, but they're now getting into the system with what Doug Peterson wants to run. You got Robinson coming off an Achilles who looks completely healthy on that 37-yard touchdown run. The guys that they signed are making plays. Their defense is a lot faster than they were last year, and you can see that with all the acquisitions they made on defense. They really honed in on the draft, trying to get upgrade on the defense, and that's showing right now in these games.
You agree this is more about Jacksonville? You're going to go, this is more about Indy, they're in trouble?
I think Jacksonville's defense is going to be really good.
Yep.
And Trevor Lawrence is taking the steps forward. But this is about Indy. And you want to point to the guys who weren't there for Indy, I get it. And the receivers weren't there. Pittman wasn't there. Pierce wasn't there. Leonard wasn't there on defense. But their offensive line was dominated today. And those guys were all there. And that's been a problem for 2 straight games. And what has been the calling card for the Colts? Big, physical, strong offensive line who can run the football. They didn't run it well today until late. They got some late runs, and he was sacked 5 times. This is about the Colts offensive line. It's not what it used to be.
Andrew Luck to Jacoby Brissett to Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz and now to Matt Ryan. Jamie, when you see Matt Ryan, does it look like, hey, new team, new system, new guys, he'll figure it out? Or do you look and go, this is not the same guy, and I wonder if he can be a guy that is reputable enough to get this season turned around?
I don't think they brought him in to be a guy that's going to have to rescue them like we saw last week against the Texans and certainly today, especially when you don't have his number 1 receiver. Taking Michael Pittman away from the equation, they have a lot, I think, invested in what Alec Pierce could become. They're hoping Paris Campbell can sort of recreate himself because of all the injuries. But looking at this receiving corps, it's the worst in the NFL right now. Pittman's got superstar potential, but you take him away, the tight ends are not great. The receiving corps is not great. You're asking a lot out of the running game, and as Pete alluded to, if the offensive line is not going to be there, it's going to be tough on him. So Matt Ryan's probably wishing he's back in Atlanta because at least he would have had Kyle Pitts and now Drake London. Looking at the weapons that he has.
And excuses. Because if he doesn't win, they don't expect you to win.
Yeah.
You're expected to win here.
Carson Wentz looks a hell of a lot better than Matt Ryan does right now.
They started 0-1-1 against Houston and Jacksonville. This is supposed to be the easy part of the schedule, Pete. Is this fixable? I don't want to panic after 2 games. I'm always the one that says, hey, don't overreact after week 1. Don't panic. Don't overreact after week 1 or week 2. But you got to, at some point in time, watch the tape and go, we're not it. Right now, is this fixable on the fly for Indy?
Oh, it's fixable in that division. Think about it. Tennessee plays at Buffalo. If they lose to Buffalo, then Jacksonville's got 1 win. The Colts don't have any. And who knows what the Texans will do. So, yeah, it's fixable. But they got to get guys back on the field. They need speed outside. They have none. Pierce can run a little bit. Michael Pittman, they need a number 1 wide receiver. And then you don't have Leonard. He's the leader of the defense.
Rick, you like that Indy roster overall? Do you feel like it's a little bit, sometimes you put the ingredients together, and they all may be quality ingredients. You just can't make a particularly good cake. Do you see this as something that can be fixed on the fly?
I think it can be fixed. The one thing that I know is that they're in the weakest division probably in the NFL right now. So they're going to have an opportunity to bounce back and get back into this race a little bit. But if they continue to play the way they're playing these first 2 games against Houston and against Jacksonville, although Houston is a better football team and Jacksonville is a better football team, they're going to struggle if they can't get this fixed real quick.
Pete, they still the favorites in this division?
I thought they were the favorites going in.
How about right now?
Right now, I'd still say they're the favorites.
Jamie, you still going to sign up the Colts as the favorites in the division?
They were 0-3 to start last year. So, yeah, they're still the favorites.
You're still the favorites in the division?
No.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
Tennessee.
Even if they go to 0-2 against
they just find a way with Vrabel to get to,
Tennessee.
They just win more than
I'm going to say Tennessee's favored to win.
The Colts you could point to, okay, Leonard gets back, Pittman gets back. The Titans, I think, are who we are. Losing Landry is going to be tough for them to overcome defensively, and I think we're going to see that Derrick Henry, without better protection up front and threats on the outside, you could defend them a little bit easier.
All right, you want this kind of talk? We have it all over the place on CBS Sports HQ, including, look at that, the Pick 6. There it is. Part of our great family of CBS Sports digital podcasts. You download, you subscribe, you enjoy.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.